They claw at the rubble. Slowly, the ruins give up their dead. Chanting "God is great," they hail their loved ones as martyrs. Nothing can ease the pain. Palestinian Abed Samouni says 2 generations of his family were wiped out in this Israeli attack. Not one of my sisters is left, my nephews and nieces have been executed, and my home has been destroyed by the Jews, he says. These corpses have been rotting where they fell 2 weeks ago. Now, as the ceasefire takes hold, bare hands and bulldozers unearth the barbarity of this war.
Since early morning, they say they pulled out 23 bodies. They're still digging for others still missing.
A brief United Nations report issued shortly after the incident says around 30 were killed, half of them children. Salah Samouni survived. Now he mutters a verse from the Quran for his slain father. It was an intentional massacre. This was no accident. I challenge anybody to tell me this was a mistake, he says. He says in the first hours of the ground offensive on January 3rd, Israeli soldiers rounded up 110 men, women and children and herded them into a house. He says they huddled inside till January 5th. His uncle Abed Samouni remembers hearing Israeli tanks fire 2 shells into the house. Then an aircraft launched 3 rockets. He was in a nearby apartment and phoned his sisters. They were shouting and screaming, saying they were on the floor, that they were in a desperate situation, he says. The Israeli military says its actions were in response to continued rocket fire from Hamas and denies it deliberately targets civilians. A spokesman told CNN the IDF is not familiar with any order to civilians to enter any particular building. The IDF does not give those orders, close quotes. The International Committee of the Red Cross says Israeli soldiers stopped Palestinian paramedics reaching some of the wounded for 48 hours. And when they let them through, they had no time to recover the dead. I begged the Israelis for medical help in God's name. They just told us to go and die, he says. Die, they did. Carl Penhaul, CNN, Zaytun neighborhood, Gaza.